Yeah, perfect. Okay, I think we can start. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our second training session in ACENET Basic series, which is an introduction to Linux and command line. My name is Yashar Monfaret, and I'm a training specialist at ACENET and will host the session. Today, I'm here with a few of my colleagues. We have Gurpreet Mataru, who is a
Mm.
research consultant at ACENET and the instructor for today's session. And we also have three of our colleagues at ACENET, James, Robert, and Mustafa, who will act as helpers in the session and will answer your questions in the chat box. I would like to begin by acknowledging that I am working and streaming today in Mi'kmaqi, the ancestral and unceded territory of Mi'kmaq people. I acknowledge this land not only in thanks to the indigenous communities who have held relationship with this land for generations, but also in recognition of the historical and ongoing legacy of colonialism. So you know the drill. Last session I talked about everything that you need to know about the Zoom. You can use reactions, green check mark, red X if you need help. And also if you have any questions throughout the session, please write them in the chat box. And we can actually offer you one-on-one help in breakout rooms if you have a serious problem. With that being said, Gurpreet, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Yashar, and welcome everyone. And I will share my screen first here. So, okay, in a second to find out. Yeah, right there. And I'm going to share this screen here. Okay. Okay, so I suppose everyone is able to share my screen. Oh, sorry, see my screen there. And there are people who are kind of joining right now, so that's fine. Um, I trust my colleagues are admitting all of them. So, yes, welcome everyone once again. And as Yashar mentioned, or probably I just skipped that. So, I am located at St. Francis Xavier University in Antigonish, and I'll be talking from my office today. So the session is about Linux. So Linux happens to be one of the operating systems, like we probably, or you probably have Windows laptop with you. So Windows is one of the operating systems, very popular. Likewise, there is Mac, again, extremely popular. And then there is something called as Linux. So modern Macs, they are kind of, they basically are um, at the interface of both Windows and Linux. So in case you are wondering, like, why do we need to learn Linux? It will be clear in a minute. But before that, like I am, uh, like I believe everyone has set up MobiXterm. So this is the time to open up MobiXterm. And if you have a Mac or a Linux machine, then it's sufficient to open up the terminal application. So if you are on Mac, like I am, so you can go to this search link, and here you can, on the spotlight, you can just type terminal and it will bring you to the hit over there. So you can just click that and you can see like I have two terminals open right now, which ideally probably I don't need to use them right now, but I was just like debating with myself which one is a better one. So I actually have kind of I'll go with the white one first, but I will probably need this one as well. So I will keep it both of them on right now, and these are the slides that I'm going to follow. So essentially, moving forward, so Zoom reaction buttons. So probably everyone knows about them. From time to time, if you have a question, you can basically raise your hand over there. And if I check, I will be checking with you that if everyone is with me, or everyone is doing fine, then there are green check marks that you can use. And if something is not clear or if some of the command is not working, then you should put up a red cross mark. That way, is one of us can help you out. And if something is not clear, then also red cross mark is the sign. And having said that, actually I myself, like, my Zoom kind of updated itself, and I am searching for those tools myself. So I don't know. Yashar, do you know where these tools essentially usually are?
It's in the bottom bar or it's under more. If you click on more, it might be
Okay.
there.
Okay, thank you. All right. So yeah, so please feel free to use them. And yeah. So moving forward, like, we are going to talk about the command line, Linux command line. One of the key reasons that we need to learn Linux is because, like, uh, at some point in your careers, you are going to work on clusters or supercomputers. So the supercomputers or the clusters, I will use these terms interchangeably. They actually have Linux as an operating system installed on them. So you can use or you can run your job there for days or even for a week or so, or sometimes even more than that. So you just submit your jobs and you can just log off from there, and then the job will continue to run in the background. And throughout the next 3 days, including today, tomorrow, and day after, we will be talking about how we submit the jobs and how we can keep a track of how the jobs are doing. How do we interact with the cluster in particular? So, as I said, like, the cluster works with Linux or it's on Linux operating system. So that's why it's extremely important that everyone knows about Linux. So there used to be something called as Unix a couple of decades back, and then Linux took over. Linux was basically designed by Linus Torvalds, and it is like, it's not any kind of paid version or anything of that sort. It's an open source operating system, so it constantly updates, like, with multiple people can contribute to it. So, as probably you all know, it has become extremely popular platform. So we will dive into Linux today and we will look at the very basics as such. And I will, or probably will assume that no one knows anything about Linux. So we will be starting from the real basics. And I would avoid using terms like this is obvious, this is straightforward, this is trivial. So if I happen to use them, I mean, point out to me, and I'll try not to use such terms because every time we are learning something new. Okay, so introduction to Linux command line. So what is ACENET? Essentially, this is one of the slides that we have added because a lot of time people ask us and then they are confused. And then obviously to get rid of that confusion, we really need to understand where we are coming from. So we are an Atlantic Canadian not-for-profit organization that provides researchers support in academia, uh, in academic research, and we also work with government and industry. We have access to thousands of CPUs, GPUs, and storage. And we have a local support team, likewise, myself and my team today here. And all of us, we have advanced degree and practical research experience and a lot of technical expertise as well. And most of us are specialized in something. And then we have the local skills that we can help from like a real from a real beginner to a advanced level researcher as well. So next point is important to know that we are the regional partner of the Digital Research Alliance of Canada. Now, this organization, Digital Research Alliance of Canada, it sits at the national level. So we are structurally we are kind of in a federated kind of a structure. So at the top we have the Digital Research Alliance, and then at the one level below, like we are sitting in Atlantic Canada, so we have ACENET over here. And likewise, in other parts of the country, we have our sister organizations, for example, Compute Ontario, Calcul Quebec, and in the West, there are two, BCDRI and Prairies DRI. So we work in tandem with all the researchers across the country. But important thing to understand is the national organization uh, is known as the Digital Research Alliance of Canada. In short, it is called as Dracula. Not really. So, DRAC, and then we are working with DRAC. We are the regional partners of DRAC. So, data remains in Canada, and we have no IP interests over there. And next point is also important, that everything that we provide is free of charge for academic researchers and academic industry collaborations as well. So, as I mentioned, we are a part of the National Federation. So, if anyone asks you, please do spread this word for us that we are the regional partner of the Digital Research Alliance of Canada, in short, DRAC. And DRAC's purpose at the national level is to oversee the delivery of advanced research computing, research data management, and research software. And at the ground level, we are the soldiers who are actually working towards that mandate over there. So ACENET partners with both DRAC and organizations similar to ACENET, as I mentioned before. For example, Calcul Quebec, SharkNet, Skynet, or uh, BCDRI and those ones as well. So this model ensures equitable access to resources and services across the country. All right. So that's an introduction, or probably you might have heard this yesterday as well, but we have consciously made an effort to re-emphasize about this overall structure, because I realized there was a lot of confusion earlier. So what are we going to do today? So we will be looking at the what a cluster will. We will be logging onto a cluster, and then we will get the data in and run a program on it and get the data out of that. So that's what, in a nutshell, we basically do every day of our research lives, right? We have data, then we run some codes onto that, and then we analyze the data. And this is what we are going to learn over the next 3 days, including today, and probably thereafter as well. So, but we will be starting from the real basics over here. So, if you have a Windows machine and if you installed MobaXterm, so you should get a window something like that. And I do see in the chat someone has already pasted uh, this picture over there. So we will be covering pretty much everything. So just bear with me. So this is an example of mobile xterm. So at this time, I would ask for green check marks if people who are using Windows machine have mobile xterm open, and people with other like Macs have the terminal open. Okay. I do see green, 4, 6. Any one with an issue, please put a red cross mark. We will be, I'll be actually deeply interested in that. So there is one red cross mark there. Let's see, James. Local terminal does not open for me. So James, what is your operating system there? Okay, so local terminal is not going to work for you. You probably should be installing MOBA Xterm. One of the helpers can actually help you there. Anyone else with a problem there? Okay, I'll be going slowly for now so that James can catch up with us. And yeah, okay. So that's like an example of a mobile system, and you can see the terminals are there on my left part of the screen. And now let's look at how do we log into some real clusters over there. So uh, there are five national clusters that are there in production right now. So Fur, Navy, Rorqual, Narwhal, and the fifth one is Trillium. So in order to log on to them, you all need to have accounts activated with Alliance Scan. Now, we don't anticipate pretty much all of you have accounts already set up with the Alliance or with DRAC. So what we have done is we have set up a local training cluster for you or for today's workshop. So the details of this local cluster are actually here, and I'm just going to, or probably I see probably someone has already pasted the link there, but I'm just going to paste this link again here. Uh, so we will be logging, we will be like, if you have an account on one of the real clusters, so you can use that. But if you don't have an account, then I would advise that you use one of these spots on the training cluster. So what you can do is pick up one of the spots over here and don't pick a spot which has already been taken. So there are plenty of spots available. You can see right up to 100. So you can pick up any of the spots, any of the vacant spots, and your username will be like this in case this spot number 20 has been claimed by user RJ. So RJ, in your case, your username is going to be user 020. Okay. uh, so RJ will not be your username, but your username will be user 020. And I will in a minute, I'll just show you how to log on to the cluster. And this is the password of the cluster. So it's kind of a very funky looking password, but it's good. So I see the training cluster being populated, which is great. Pick up one of the spots. And once you have picked up one of the spots for you, so I'll just show you how you can log on to the cluster here. So the command over here, it's actually written over there basically. So SSH stands for Secure Shell Login. And likewise, I have picked a spot number 99 for myself. 99 for myself. I do see some subcontinental names over there. So 99 was associated with Sachin Tendulkar. That's why it's my favorite number. Um, so SSH 0 is user 099 at the rate basics dot training dot, sorry, not training, but basics dot acenet dot training. And then just watch carefully over here for a minute on the screen. So if I press enter over there, so you might see some of the messages. You should write yes over there. If you are connecting to the cluster for the first time, you will see bunch of messages appearing over there and it will prompt you, do you want to connect? You should say yes. And then you will get to this password prompt over there. And then I will type my password over here, but you will not see the cursor moving. That is normal. But if you make any typo over here, it is not going to allow you to enter, right? Sometimes some people copy paste it. That is not a very good option. It may, the copy pasting on different operating systems might work in a different way, but sometimes it might work. You can try copy pasting, but I will not encourage that. I'm just going to type it amazingly dot factually dot epic I think I made a typo. So dot hagfish. It's going to, yeah, I made a typo there. Amazingly, let me amazingly dot actually dot epic dot hagfish. Okay. So if I enter my password correctly, then I will be able to. Okay, guys, I will be telling you how to join to the national cluster as well. Just bear with me. That's why I have two windows open there. Yeah, so please bear with me. So this is how you can log on to the login, the training cluster. Um, Okay, so before I continue further, like if anyone needs any more assistance over there, like there is also this provision of breakout rooms. So whereby one of the helpers can help you one-on-one, only if you need it. Okay, but that keep in mind that is available as well. You can let one of the helpers know, then they can go and help you one-on-one. All right. So this is how you can log on to the training cluster. And here, if you want to log on to any one of those, like Nibi, for example, someone wrote down there. So let's log on to Nibi. So SSH. So there will be a username over there. And so there will be a username over there. And then Nibi dot alliancescan.ca. Uh, if you do that, then it will ask you for the password. I'll enter my password. And also, you need to set up your two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication if you want to log on to the national clusters. It won't allow you to log on without that. So I have my MFA or multi-factor authentication set up, and that's how. So I am logged on to the NIBI cluster now. Okay, so I will need green check marks if you are logged on to either of the clusters. Like if you don't have an account with Alliance, then or DRAC, then you can actually use our training cluster. Please try to log on to the training cluster as over here. And you can see the username over here. That's my username. And if you want to log on to the national real cluster, you should be doing that as well. So please give me a green check mark if you have reached this step successfully, or more importantly, if there is a problem, please put a red cross mark. Um, Colin, what's that about? Colin, what's your operating system over there? Like that? Okay. James or Robert, any one of you on Windows? Okay. Thanks, Robert. All right, I'm just going to go slowly over here again so they can actually catch up with us. Uh, Anyone else with a red cross mark? I don't see anyone else. So it means that you have logged on to one of the clusters. And you might see like if you don't do anything for some time, it might close the connection, but that's fine. But I will just do something, just type enter so that it means that you are still there. All right. So once we have logged on to the cluster, yeah, it says that. So this is a warning. So basically, you can just ignore that. some of you already see that sort of a warning. And yeah, so I'll just, I don't, okay, there's another red cross mark. Who's that? Okay, the password is there on this. We have posted the link up there. So the password is there right here. So that, so the link has already been posted up. Let me type once again, but I do see. Yeah. Thanks, Robert. Yeah, the password is there. I'll wait for 1 more minute. I always feel that the most difficult parts are right at the beginning, or and again, they might be close to the end. It's like takeoff and landing, basically. Once you are up in the air, then it's very easy to cruise along. Okay, all right. So once you are in the cluster, then what do you do there? So essentially, we will look around the cluster, and you'll see like there is something called as a home directory. And the home directory will resemble something like this over here. Um, what happens over here is like if I do ls over there, Joy, the password, you will not see the cursor moving, but you just type it and press enter. If you enter the right password, it will log you on. So that's like one of the safety things. So keep in mind, like whenever you are logging onto any cluster anywhere in the world with the command line, you will not see the cursor moving. It will be there at that static position. So I will come to this command in a minute, but if I press ls, so I will see like there are these four things that appear. I mean, you probably, if you just type ls, you will see projects and Scratch appearing. Now, what do we do over here? Like when we log on to the cluster, right at that instant, we are actually sitting at something called as a home or a home directory. So this is the login directory as well. So when you log on, there is a default that has been set up by the sysadmins for you, and everyone log on to their respective home directories. So within that home directory, you will have like this is where you are working or you are storing your data. So in this case, you can see these blue links, they typically refer to directories over there. And then this cyan colored thing is called as a link. I will be talking about all that today. And then there are these further subdirectories. So this is a tree structure, but the tree is in the inverted format. This login directory is sometimes known as, well, not technically, but this can be considered as the root of the tree. And then these are the branches, and then these are the leaves over there. So the tree normally it grows in the from bottom to top direction, but in this case, it's going from top to bottom. So it is still resembling a tree structure over there. And that's where like these are the directories, and within these directories you can store the files. And for the next little while I'm going to talk about that only. So looking around, basically when you log on to the cluster, so as I said, like I've already shown you this particular command list, ls list. So it lists down the contents of that particular location. So if you type PWD, in short, it means print working directory. It will tell you the location where you currently are. So in this case, you can see slash home slash user 099. And if I do this on this real cluster, the same thing, you will see I have got a lot of data over here. And if I do this PWD over here, okay, let me do this now. So PWD here also I am at my home and this is my username. And on the training cluster, my username happens to be user 099, but it shows that I am sitting at my home location. Now that's the default whenever you log on to any of the computers or a laptop. If you have Linux installed on it, you will be by default landing onto your home. Okay. So ls basically lists down all the files in the directory, and it can also tell it how to do the action using arguments and options. There are multiple options that you can add onto a given command. So likewise, in this case, let's say if I want to do ls, then if I put a space over here, then if I put a minus sign over there, and then let's say I put ls minus l, and this is one of the options that come with this command, and there are many other options. So if I do that, so this is listing the files and the directories in the long format. So in the long format, you will have much more information, and we'll talk about these. What is this? So we'll talk about the like there is a lot of information which is there, and okay, Faisal, you need to tell us which cluster you are trying to log on. So what is 6? Please be more explicit there. Thank you. So we've got ls minus l is l stands for the long format over there. And then there are some words that you can type like ls like this. If you do that, so it will open up a help page for you as well. So if you want to type words, then you should be using two dashes. And if you want to just place an argument or place an option, then you can use just one of those dashes. And one other command that I tend to use more often is this one. So if I type clear and press enter, so it's going to clear my screen. Let me do that once again. ls will list down the contents of the directory where exactly you are. ls minus l, this will display the contents, the same contents in the long format. Here, there are permissions that are associated. This is the user and this is the group. We'll talk about that. And then this happens to be the size of the directories or the files. And that's the date over there. Um, and one other format you can use ls minus ltr. If you do that, LTR basically will place everything in the descending or ascending order. So the most recent changes will be placed right at the bottom. So you can see it has arranged by time, and that happens to be one of my favorite commands, ls minus ltr. So all the changes you can, if you want to know which was the most recent change or where was the most recent change, you can use that command as well. So that's an option. And then one other option which is actually very useful is ls minus a. Now ls, if I type ls, then I see just these four entries, whereas ls minus a, this means list all. So here some of the hidden contents are also displayed. And there is a reason that we don't need to display these hidden contents, or there is a reason that why these contents are hidden. It's because these actually have some of the controls of how your account is going to behave. And if you mess up with any of these hidden files, sometimes your contents and your whole thing is not going to work at all. It can be so devastating at times. So that's why if you are aware and if you are an expert, only then you should be modifying this, especially this .bash rc. So anything that is starting with dot is usually hidden. And that's why we actually tend to use ls command rather than ls minus a. And if I do this ls minus al, I can also add on options over there, and you see that got closed. That can happen. Ls minus al. So in this case, it will display all, including the hidden contents, in the long format over there, right? And it can also one other way of listing is this one. Like as I mentioned, that these blue things are directories. So ls, if I type this ls dir1 here, so it's going to display the contents of this particular directory, dir1. So in dir1, I have these two files and a subdirectory over there. This is the setup that I actually created before the workshop. So probably you don't need to do that, or it might not be there. It will not be there in your locations. Um, but this is just for illustration here for now. So ls, you can also use, let's say, ls projects. So if you do that, so it will list down the contents of that particular location or that particular directory called as projects. And one other thing that to note down over here is this cyan. This basically is a link. Essentially, this link is being directed towards here. This is the exact location, but you can actually set up links as well here. So instead of typing this whole thing, you can just use Scratch. uh, and we have actually so anything so the modern clusters are kind of color coded, so which is good. Like anything with this plain black would mean it's a file. Blue, it's usually a directory, and cyan will be a link. You will see zipped file are usually red in color. So there is a nice color combination over there. But I remember during my time as a grad student, not very long back in time, it's like a little under 2 decades. I don't know, it's like relative. So there was no color coding at that time in Unix. So how did we distinguish between a directory and a file? So every time we will make a directory, we will make a directory with all caps, and the files will be all lowercase. So imagine everything is a black here, and then in color, and then it's in no way you can distinguish with color coding. So everything is written in black over there. So essentially that's why you will see, like even now at times when I create directories, I use all caps. So you could see clusters which are not color coded, so it's okay. And then sometimes you will see the default in Linux is color coding is there by default. And then you can change those defaults as well. So everything is basically possible. Being open source, so a lot of control is actually with the user, that is you. You can do those modifications yourself. Okay, enough talking about listing. We will be using this more. So how do we make a new directory? So let's see. If I want to make a new directory, the command is actually mkdir. I'll make a directory called as test over there. So if I do this and then I do ls, I will see another directory that has been created called as test. And if I use this command, so you will see this command, this directory has been listed right at the bottom here. So because this is the most recent change that I made. And how do I get into this directory? For that, the command is cd, stands for change directory. If I do this, I go to test over here. So yes, thanks, James. That's like the tab completion. I was actually going to come at a little later, probably, or maybe tomorrow. But thank you very much. That's very useful. Um, no, no, that's fine. Thank you. It's okay. So once you do the cd, so you will be inside the test directory. And if I do ls over there, there is nothing because I just made this directory. So there is nothing in this directory. How do I go back? So to go back one step, just do this cd, put space, dot, dot, and press enter. It will take you back one step. Okay, so every time there is a comment like that, please mention, are you there on the training cluster or you are working on the real cluster, right? Because I know some of you have logged on to the real cluster as well. Okay, right. I will answer that a bit later. We'll see that what's going on there. But I will like shift my focus right here. So yeah, bear with me and I can come to that a little later. So cd space dot dot, it takes you one step back. So you see the prompt over there, it actually changed now. So when I moved into cd test, so I had the test over there. So this one happens to be the login directory. So this is the prompt of the login directory. Now let's look. I have other directories. So if I do the cd dir1 2, directory number 2, if I do that, it will take me to dir2. And if I press ls, so it will list down the contents of this dir2. And as you can see, like these two are files and this is another subdirectory. So let's go into that cd dir22. If I come here now, if I do the listing, so I have this CC and two files are here. I mean, these are dummy files, but just for illustration. Now, if I do a PWD over here, so it will display the whole path, like from the top to which level I am sitting right now on the inverted tree structure over there. So at this time, I am at dir22. Okay. And so you can see like you will be using these three or four commands in tandem. cd, ls, mkdir, sometimes you probably would need to use. So if like these are very, very basic commands, but they take you so far into the Linux learning as such. So now you are actually here. Now, if I want to go back to one step, if I do this cd space dot dot two dots, it will take me back to dir2. For a minute, let me go back to dir22. So I am back at dir22. And let's say if I press cd and I forgot to put a dash dot dot there, I just press enter after that, it's going to take me straight back to my home directory or the login directory. You see this? So cd, anywhere you press cd and press enter after that, it's going to take you back straight to your home location. Sometimes if you are confused, it can happen and you really don't know where exactly you are and you don't want to mess up with the things there. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Just type cd, press enter. It's going to take you back right at the start from where you are actually logged on to, from where you logged on to that particular location. All right, so things are listed over here as well. So cd space dot dot, it means the parent directory or one level up. And cd dot, I forgot to mention about that. Let me see. So C dir1 and here and cd, if I press a single dot here, so it will keep me right there. It's not going to take me anywhere, right? So CD basically this slash happens to be the top level of the file system, let's say CD, and then if I do a PWD here, so this slash happens to be the top level of the file system. And then within that, we have our home, and within the home, it's my location as such. And then after that, I have my own data or all the codes and the files that I have set up over there. Okay. And then, yeah, so let's do this thing. It's like a small task over there. I would encourage everyone to do this as well. So MKDIR workshop, probably you will be using this tomorrow, I suppose. So MKDIR workshop. Now here, it's all lowercase, but let me restrict myself to the protocol that I have set up for myself. So I'm just going to do this MKDIR workshop, and then uh, so I will see with LS. So you see this, I have this workshop created over there. Let's go into workshop. So if I press W, and then I will come to what James had written there. So if I press W, and then I don't want to type everything, right? So if I will just press tab key after this, tab, it will complete for me. Okay, right? So this is called as tab completion. Very, very useful. Sometimes these names could be extremely long, but they could be unique in itself. What do I mean by that? I will just tell you in a minute. So basically, like if you do this CD workshop, it will take you in the workshop. But if I were to do this, let's say CD, I will type capital T over there, and if I try to type do the tab completion once again, if I press my tab key over here now, so it will say test, and but I wanted test 2, right? There is test and test 2. If I do this, so now next time it asks me test and test 2. There are two things. So it has brought me to test. I have to just type 2 here and press enter there. So this is called as tab completion. Let's try with one other thing like a CD, or you can use this with any command. I type just P here and press my tab key over there. So it's going to complete it for me. This is called as tab completion. Go back one step once more. CDS, tab completion, right? So let's go back to this workshop thing. So workshop, and then press enter there, and then if you do ls, there is nothing here, and pwd obviously is going to illustrate the whole path again. It's kind of a revision of what we did, right? So we created a directory, changed the directory, listed the contents, and then used pwd, which happens to be the print working directory. So within that, how can we download some files over there? So let's, if now there is no browser here, right? So usually we go to Chrome or whatever, and then there is a download link which we do, and then we save it. But look at what's happening here. So there is no browser here when you are with the command line, but there is a very powerful command called as wget. It's kind of W basically coming from the www, so World Wide Web. So wget, and then I'm just going to paste this link there. You might not be able to copy that. So essentially, let me see, copy, and let me paste it over here. So type wget and then copy paste the link here, right? So that's what you do. You see, like there's a lot of empty characters that are there, but that's fine. Wget, and then once you type this, then press enter over there. So it would have downloaded this file for you. And if you press ls after that, so you will see there is a zipped file which is red in color there. And if you press ls minus l, it will display the long format, and ls minus lh. So this is the size which gets displayed. You don't know what size is this. ls minus lh, another flag, H stands for human readable. So this particular file is of 450 kilobytes. So that's a zipped file, which is obviously the case over there. So you can see we have shown you one other color coding over there. It's like red for zip files. ls minus ltr again displays the same information. So what do we have now? So inside workshop, we have the file over here, and then you can actually unzip this. So unzip, and if I just press tab here, it will complete it for me automatically, right? I don't even have to type the first alphabet here. It may not be possible in every other case, but because there is just one file, I just press tab here. It's just going to complete it for me. And if I press enter now, so it's going to inflate everything. And then if I do ls, so you see what happens over here. So this is the this is the zipped file which I downloaded just now, but the contents were written long time back. So that's why this April 20 is appearing. And if I go into this shell lesson data, and then there is basically like bunch of subdirectories, you go here and you can just go to this one. And then, so there, these are all the files. So ls minus ltr. So basically, these are all the files. ltrh, it will be human readable. So it will display the size in kilobytes. The units are attached over there. pwd, look how down we are from the top there. And as I said, if I want to go right to my login directory, press cd and just press enter after that. So it's going to take me back right over there. Okay, so you will get used by practice over there, like all these commands. So sometimes the more you use them, the more accustomed you will be, and it's like a very useful thing. So basically, you see, we haven't used any browser so far, and we have just used our keyboard, not even a mouse, and we are kind of working over there, right? So any questions so far, except from that one up? I have to see like where that thing is coming. How do you access the data after unzipping? So when you unzip, the data is already there in that. So type ls after that. After you unzip, type ls, and then you can use cd, ls cd in tandem, and you will see right at the data appearing in this particular directory. So these directories, animal counts, creatures, probably will have different files over there. But once you unzip, like the beauty of the zipped file is like you can combine a lot of like a big inflated directory structure into very tiny size, and then it's easy to transport. How do we open the? That's a very good point. That's basically a question for tomorrow, Daniel. I can tell you that, but I will see. Like if it comes, we will show you that. But that's what we are going to learn tomorrow, and we are not going to learn only that thing. We are going to learn how you can modify the contents of the file. Okay. Okay. Any other question? It's showing as shell lesson data. So Mitra, in that shell lesson data, that is in blue color, right? Let me show you once again. So it looks like someone has used my, let me see, number 99. Who has logged on to number 99? Workshop underscore Dan. Who created this? Daniel. Okay. You should not be using user 099. That's my spot. You can use any of these vacant spots. Okay. Yeah. Put your name there so that no one else will use it. Okay, but thank you. You did something for me, and I will be using that now. I was actually going to come to that. So inherently, you set me up for something very, very useful. Thank you very much. So okay, but before I go to that, let me go to this workshop once again quickly for Mitra. And Mitra, you should see, you do see this. One is red in color, the other one is blue in color. That blue happens to be the directory. I use CD and enter in there. And there I see further subdirectories. I go into exercise data. You can go in any one of them. I mean, hardly matters. It's just for display over here. And here I see alkanes. Let me go to animal counts this time. Let's see what there. So there is one file over there. That's a CSV file. And if I go back to, let's say, I can combine the commands as well here. So cd dot dot will take me back by one step, right? So I am now in exercise data. So exercise data, which has got those further subdirectories. So let me go to writing. I'll show you something useful here. So in writing, there are these two files there, and I am in writing. So writing, along with writing, where writing existed, there were these three other directories. If I want to go from writing to, let's say, alkanes, one step is, or in two steps, I can use cd dot dot. It will take me back one step to exercise data, and then I can do cd onto alkanes. Fine, you can do that. If you want to combine this, you can use this way. So cd space dot dot. This will take me back to one step. I will be at exercise data, but at the same time, I put this slash and type alkanes. And if I do this, so I will be directly in alkanes over here. So cd space dot dot takes me back one step, and then I go into alkanes. I can actually combine this command as well. So likewise, I am in alkanes now. One step ahead, in exercise data, I had these four subdirectories along with one file. If I move a further step up, exercise data, then I will have this exercise data and North Pacific gyre. Let's say if I want to go to North Pacific gyre, I can continue to use this format. So cd dot dot, and then I will be here on exercise data after one of this dot dot. I want to go back to here. I can do one more time. Now it will take me back one more step. I will be at shell lesson data. And within shell lesson data, I had this exercise data North Pacific gyre. Here I type N and I use my tab completion. It's going to take me down to North Pacific gyre now. So you see how I am combining these commands, and then here I have so many files which are there. Some of them are shell files, the other ones are txt text files over there. Okay. Uh, can we make multiple folders? Yeah, thank you, James. Yeah, so that is right. Um, right. Okay. So that's how you can use the cd command to your advantage. And then let me type this cd and I'm back to my login directory. And if I do this pwd, I am right here again. Okay. Okay. So moving stuff around and then removing the directory. Uh, okay. So now Daniel, he actually created that subdirectory over there, workshop underscore Dan, right, for me. There are a couple of things that we can do. Okay. Let me first show you the remove file content here because we can do that right now. So if I enter into workshop, so if I do this workshop and I am not happy, so it now displayed me. after I pressed this tab 2 or 3 times, it showed me. So what exactly you want to do? If I type this underscore and then press tab again, so it will take me to this directory. Oops. And then if I press ls, so and then let me go here. Shell lesson data here. And let's see, exercise data or North Pacific gyre. Let's go to North Pacific gyre. So here these are the files. If I want to remove any file or if I want to delete any file, so the command for that, now I want everyone to be listening this extremely carefully over the next 10 odd minutes. So rm command, and let's see if I want to remove this particular file. So if I just do this copy and then if I just paste it over here, so I want to remove this particular file, and if I press enter now, guess what's going to happen there? So, and if I press ls once again, so that file, which was 2043b, has gone, is no longer there. RM is a very powerful command in Linux. It will not take anything to a recycle bin. In fact, there is nothing called as a recycle bin in Linux. RM will simply delete the file permanently. Okay. So RM, uh, if you want to use it, and not if, but you probably have to, we all have to use it, right? So make sure whatever you want to delete or you have a backup, then it should be okay. But if RM and then if you press file name and press enter, file will be gone. The only way to recover is to start from scratch. If I do this, RM star, star happens to be wildcard. So wildcard needs to be used even more carefully. So wildcard will match, let's see, over here, rm star dot sh. So everything that ends in .sh, if I execute this particular command, will be deleted. In this case, there are two of these files, right? So this is a wildcard. I can use this wildcard in multiple fashions. Let's see if I use this, what will happen? And then if I press ls now, you see those two files are gone now. That .sh files are gone. Likewise, you can imagine if I type rm star, what will this do? This will basically delete everything in this particular directory. Let me press it. ls, everything will be gone. Got it? So rm star happens to be the wildcard, should be used even more carefully. Do not use it if you are not sure. Um, Sometimes there are some permissions that actually prohibit that it will prompt you, are you sure you want to do that? So it will ask you, but most times it won't even ask you. It will just do that same thing for you. So once again, there is no recycle bin here. Okay, there is nothing here. I go back one step. I was in North Pacific Gyre and I can see that ls minus ltr. So you'll see there is hardly anything over there. In fact, there is nothing. I want to get rid of this directory now. So rmdir, and then if I press North Pacific Gyre, rmdir stands for removing a directory. The directory will be gone. Jacqueline, that again is a thing for tomorrow. Basically, we will show you like how you can use editor, and then you can open up those files. So for now, like just bear with me, like we are talking about some fundamental commands here. So yeah, that will come. I mean, that's a good question. Actually, that will come tomorrow or probably little later. I don't know, depending upon the time. So rmdir, actually, I have removed that directory now. Now let me try to do the same thing with exercise data. Exercise data, if I do this rm exercise data, first of all, it's going to tell me that you cannot use rm because this is a directory. Okay, fine. I'll use rmdir exercise data. Exercise, if I do this, then it will tell me the directory is not empty. So the way to do this is like if I go here inside this exercise data, I know there are other subdirectories, so I go in all of them individually, remove all the files. Like if I do this here now, rm star, what will this do? This is not going to delete the directories, but it is actually going to delete the file numbers.txt, right? So that's what it does. But let me go back one step. And so I am in so I want to delete this exercise data, right? Uh, and we know that all these four subdirectories right here, alkanes, they all have files within them. And rmdir is telling me that the directories or this directory is not empty. Now, what I'm going to tell you is very, very powerful, but I would add a lot of caution to it. So if you do this rmdir star here, let me see. It's still not going to let me know. So I will enforce this command rm, let's see. And I only have let's this pwd. I'm being extremely cautious here. So I am sitting at shell lesson data, and within the shell lesson data, I have this exercise data. So rm minus r. So it says rm minus r, remove everything recursively, means whatever is there within the subdirectories, remove that as well. Rm minus r star. If I use this command and press enter, so everything will be gone. So you see, nothing is there now. Why is this a very powerful command? Imagine someone executing this command on the login directory. All your data will be gone. It will be wiped out. So never ever leave your terminal computer open for for some naughty people around, right? Someone can come and just execute this command on the login directory and all your data will be wiped out. You don't want that to happen. So never leave your things unattended. Okay, so let me go back one step because Daniel had created this directory accidentally. So if I want to remove this rm minus r, I'm not going to add star here, but rm minus r workshop underscore Dan, right? I will be extremely cautious over here, but I have to show this. So that's why I'm doing it. Rm minus r workshop underscore Dan and I press enter. So I see that workshop underscore Dan and all its contents are gone. So they have all, they're not even history. Well, they're gone basically, right? So RM, we need to use it, but we really need to be careful how do we use it, especially in the case of directories. And never ever use rm minus r. Sometimes you have to use this command rm space minus rf. So you are doing a forceful removal. Sometimes there are some hidden files there are that are also called as system files that the system will not allow you to delete. But if you are sure, no, I really want to get rid of that file, then you can use rm space minus rf. That will be a forceful removal. It will do it. It will remove everything. So be very careful over there. Okay. Now, let me show you the cp command, which is actually copying the command, copying the files. So when you are copying, so you are basically making another file, making another copy. Basically, if you have, let's say, one file a.txt, let me show you that. So if I go to dir1 here, and you will see this a.txt, b.txt are files, right? And then dir11 is another subdirectory. If you want to copy, let's say a.txt, so you basically, let's say, I want to copy it to another file called as AAA.txt, right? So now if I do ls, so I have, so this a.txt and AAA.txt's contents will be same. So you are making two physical copies of a particular file over there. Let me get rid of this AAA.txt, right? Sometimes, like if you happen to do this, let's say cpa.txt, you see there is already, I think Daniel, James answered that question a little if you go up a little. So he has already answered that. Yes, the answer is yes. So he has demonstrated. Just go up in the chat there. So if I like I can you can see like there is a.txt and b.txt, right? If I do this a.txt onto b.txt, so the contents of b.txt will be overwritten. So it will not actually tell you, and it will not actually tell you, but the contents will be overwritten. So you have to be careful in picking up the names as well. Sometimes now here what it does, the cp command, let's see a.txt, if I were to copy it to AAA.txt, so it makes two different files which are identical in everything. And let there is another command called as move. So mv, if this actually is renaming the command. So if I say this r1.txt, so that a.txt is now renamed to r1.txt. So mv is basically for moving, but it's also for renaming. I can actually copy, like say, if I wanted to do this, if I were to show you dir 11 here, so there is nothing here. Well, there are two files, and one step ahead, I had that r1.txt. If I want to copy, you can use this cp. Two dots will take you one step back. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Copy paste. It's not copy pasting, it's copying basically. So it will do both the things. So cp, so I'm trying to copy from one directory up, right? So this pwd, so my file d is r1.txt happens to be is sitting in dir1. I am in dir11. Let me copy from one step up from me. So cp, this is the source. The first step is the source. So source happens to be dir1, and then the file name is r1.txt. So this is the source, and now after a space happens to be the destination. So I want to copy it right there. So if I press dot here, so this happens to be the source. Take that file from one directory up and then paste it right there. And if I press enter now, okay, so it says there is no directory with that name. Okay, did I remove that? Uh, yeah, r1.txt was there. So why did it not copy? cp. Okay. Hmm. Sorry. cd dir11. It should be cp dot dot, and now I am one step back, and then r1.txt. This is the source. This happens to be the destination. Now it will do it. Yes, so I have the r1.txt. So that's one way of copying. And I will just remove this r1 dot, or let me not remove it, but I'll just go one step back. I am now sitting at dir1, and from here, if I want to copy into dir11, let's copy this AAA.txt. So AAA cp, the source is this particular file AAA.txt, and I want, which is my destination. My destination happens to be this one, dir11, and you can add this at the end. And if I press this, then it will, now if I go to dir11, I'll see that AAA.txt as well over here. Okay. Uh, yeah. So that's how you can copy. And then remember within copying the, like when you use this CP, then whatever you type here first time, it's basically the source. And then the second step is the destination. So source and destination both should be there. If I just do that and press enter, so it's going to type me that destination is basically missing. And also you can use that brought me there. So CP dash dash help, it will open up a help page for me. I mean, in today's modern time, basically, it's always better to Google rather than use this help there, which I never used in my time as a grad school at the grad school uh, when there were fewer resources. But still, they exist. It tells you like all everything in detail, but you have to read through that. Some people find it hard as well to read. So asterisk, I have kind of explained already. That happens to be the wild card, and then that's the directory separator. And you will talk more about that tomorrow. So a lot of people were asking me how to look into the files, what is there in the file. So let me quickly tell you, and then I still have 15 minutes. So I want to show you copying, like the transferring of the data. But before that, let me go to this workshop directory because here the files have some contents. In these directories, there were some dummy files that I had created. So I go to shell lesson data, I go to exercise data, and then numbers.txt. If I want to read through that, cat command, cat numbers.txt, if I press enter there, so it's going to display the first 6 lines of that particular file. Right. Head is, well, cat will display first few lines. Head will display first 6 lines specifically, but this file actually has only 5 lines there. So everything is being displayed. And then tail, cat stands for concatenation, not the cat that, well, uh, the pet cat. It's not that. It comes from concatenation. Why? I have no idea because it makes no sense. Head and tail makes sense. Tail will display the last 6 lines of the file. And if I were to pick up a good one there, let's see. So cat, uh, cat Cubane, let's see. So this is cat, basically the file itself is just that much. So head Cubane will display the first 6 lines, not the whole file, and tail will display the last 6 lines. So you see here there was no end and here it is end. So the last, usually it's the last 6 lines. Sometimes it can display probably more information there, but usually it happens in the last 6 lines. And then there is another one, like if the file is big, then you should use this. So it will display fewer contents. That's what it means. So it will display page by page. So it's already end, and then press Q, you will come out of it. There are text editors which help you to modify the content. So Nano is one of the popular text editors here. So Nano Cubane.pdb. Now this file is open in the editing mode. Here you can add, delete whatever you want, like I mean like whatever. So like you can see this. So the content has been modified now. And if you want to save it, if you press this Control X, and it will ask you, you want to save this file. I will type N here because I don't want to save it. But as I said, I'm rushing through this because you will be learning more about this tomorrow. So these are some of the ways of looking into what are the contents of the file, cat, head, tail, less, and all that. And then editors, you can, like if you are going to spend your research career in computational sciences or computational anything, at some point of time you will have to master yourself in either of Vim or in Emacs. So these two are very powerful editors. Nano is a good editor, but it's for the normal purposes only. Yeah. Okay. So what next? So inside Nano, I just showed you. You can explore more there. Let me quickly go over there. So storage management on the clusters over there. Okay, I will come to this at the end. What I wanted to show you, how do you transfer data from the outside world? So we already showed Globus, and then there is something called as, well, already showed you wget. Globus is a file transfer tool, but the basic tool, like if you want to transfer files from your cluster to from your machine to the cluster back and forth, you should be using SFTP or SCP. Now these happen to be some like the command line things. Um, and then press Q, Jacqueline, press Q. And then there is a very nice tool which is like a graphical user interface. I'm using something called as CyberDuck. So you can install CyberDuck. So this is the CyberDuck. This is the graphical tool, and I'm just going to display, just show you how to use this. So this CyberDuck basically, and let me log on to the cluster for a minute as well, the real cluster. And here, this is my multiple factor authentication there. And I have actually set up a similar setup over there. So I'll just go to basics there. So you can see I have my DIR 3 and 4 over there. So this is the CyberDuck interface, which I downloaded today. Believe me, I just used it, not used it, installed it for the first time. So open connection. So we will transfer files back and forth, well, from this cluster to our training cluster. Let's see. So let's first, when you open this CyberDuck, make sure you go to SFTP. The single FTP is not going to work. SFTP, secure FTP will work. So server name happens to be basics dot acenet dot training. It might be small in size. I can't increase the size here. And username in my case is user099. And then the password over there, let's see if it's saved my password. So, okay. So this is my training cluster and all the contents and the data over here. Now, if I want to transfer onto, let's say, Nibi here, so I will open up another. So I go to File here. I will click New Browser here, and it will open up a new browser for me. And here I'm just going to open up another connection. Here I'm going to use Nibi. Uh, Nibi dot alliance can.ca, and then I'll use my username and then the password here. And oops, sorry. It's because I was not using the SFTP here. I was just using FTP. So SFTP, and let me connect it now. I'll try one more time there. Let me see. No. Okay. The error is most often. Yeah, FileZilla, you can use that. The error is most often no connection to internet. Okay, come on. Maybe, okay, there's a typo there. This is so small in size that okay, can't even read that. Okay, now it's working. This one, and then it's going to ask you for the do factor authentication there. So it will now authenticate me and open up. Right. Okay. It did that. So this is the basics over there. So you can see I have the contents displayed over here. Now, if I want to copy anything. Let's say I want to copy my dir1 from my training cluster onto Nibi. I'll just drag this here and that's it. So it's going to do that for me. It might ask for the password again. Let me do this. And then it will ask for the dual factor authentication as well. So you can pick and choose multiple directories, and then now it's going to authenticate, and it will be done in a minute. So it's right there. So dir1 is right there. And if I wanted to copy, let's say project, I can pick and choose. Oh, so there was option. Can I pick and choose multiple? Yeah. So the dir2 and test, I can put both of them there. So it's going to do that thing for me once again. I have to make sure that I enter my password correctly. So it copied both the directories for me. And I can actually do the same thing from here to here as well. So dir3, I will pick up dir3 here and do that here. So it's again going to ask the same thing for me. I mean, this is a nice graphical user interface thing, which is easy to use. And there is a command line as well, but we are running out of time now. So that's one thing. So it's overwriting. All right. And that's if you are transferring between the cluster. If you want to connect from your local machine, so it's already there. So there is this action there. Here you can download and you can actually upload. If you upload, press upload, then this is your personal computer that gets opened up. And and let's see this one. If I were to upload this, so this will upload on, yeah, right there. It went there. Okay, Shah, I will come to that question just at the end. I mean, like, that's a very different problem, and I will just finish this and then I will come to you. Okay, and then you can actually delete this over here as well. And you can, yeah, just do that. So you can use the CyberDuck, and once you are done, you can just disconnect over here and then you can simply close it. So this, I think this is one of the good ways. And then it was mentioned there, there is something called as Globus and FileZilla. You can use all of them. It says that CyberDuck, FileZilla, you can use all of it. And Globus, like when you are a bit more experienced using that. And yeah, so SFTP, I did not show you explicitly, but I think most people are using graphical user interfaces these days, so you can use that. Uh, yeah, I just don't have time to cover all this now, so I will probably ask you to read through this workshop material as such, and where you can go for help. There is manual commands, and then you can always send us an email. If you are stuck somewhere, we will be happy to answer those emails. And like the support is there on we have an extensive wiki that we maintain. And like, how do you access the software? So that comes from modules. Probably you will learn tomorrow and day after. But if anything is missing, so I would encourage you to go back to this material and just go over this once again. Pretty standard material that we have over here. And please get back to us, send us an email if you need to, uh, and we will be happy to help. But with that, because I have run out of time now, I will say thank you to every one of you. And Yashar, back to you.
Yeah, thanks everyone for attending this session, and a special thank you to Gurpreet and also James and Robert for helping with the session. So I'm going to stop the recording now, but we can